If you're watching this video, you're probably aware that retro video game prices are expensive. But there are some games that have leveled out since their spikes in early 2020 and 2021, so you would hope that there is light at the end of the tunnel. But I forecasted 24 Nintendo 3DS titles, and this is far from over. Welcome to Retronomics, the series that follows price trends in video games. And if you're new here, I've been doing this series for over 4 years now, so if you like this type of content, consider subscribing because there's more videos on the way. Today, we're talking about Nintendo 3DS prices. I did a video 9 months ago discussing DS and 3DS game prices, but I decided this time around we should just focus on the 3DS because some of the games have leveled out and some have almost doubled in value in just the past couple of months. The pandemic has been quite the boon if you're a seller of these games, but if you're buying, it's just another thing that has increased in price over the past couple of years. Before we get into the prices, here's how Retronomics works. I get all of my pricing from pricecharting.com and eBay sold listings to determine if the prices will go up, down, or stay the same. All the games are complete in box and North American titles, except for one, but I'll let you guess which one. The prices are accurate as of the publishing of this video, which is right below that like button. With that out of the way, here are 24 Nintendo 3DS titles forecasted. Shin Megami Tensei 4 has been hovering between $50 and $60 since the end of 2020. Later Atlas titles sell well as most people don't want to miss out and end up paying high prices like they do in previous titles. I would buy this now or wait. Even brand new copies aren't going for much more than what price charting has it listed for as used. Bravely Default is starting to settle down again after a previous bump in March. The collector's edition is the one to keep an eye out for, but if you're looking for a quality turn-based RPG from Square Enix, this is a great addition to anyone's collection, especially at a reasonable price. Rayman 3D is on its way back down after a bump close to $20 after years hovering around $10. This is a remake of Rayman 2, which has started to see a resurgence. Ubisoft doesn't really have any plans to resurrect the series, so I'm not sure what caused the spike in recent months, but hey, at least it's still inexpensive. I would buy it now or wait. Spirit Camera is part of the Fatal Frame series, which has spiked in interest with the Wii U Fatal Frame coming to the Nintendo Switch. Horror games in general have been expensive, but there seems to be this journey to find those that are undervalued and scoop them up before they get too expensive. Spirit Camera never really gained traction when it was released, so it is surprising that it spiked so much lately. I would wait for the prices to cool down just a bit before deciding if it's worth your money. Cubic Ninja is super flat with a little increase since the last time I made this video. It's no longer needed to jailbreak the 3DS, so maybe it's something to pick up for novelty reasons or wait until you find it at a yard sale or something. Cave Story is rising in price, especially the version with the holographic slipcover. I strongly recommend considering getting this game sooner rather than later. It is a desirable game for the 3DS, and the 3D effect does add an added feature over the rest of the platforms that it's on. If you don't want the lenticular cover, it is significantly cheaper, so maybe consider that instead, or pick it up for the Switch for half the price. Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D is sitting pretty reasonable ever since Nintendo reprinted it back in 2015. While this does have better graphics than the Nintendo 64 version, there are some gripes that people have with this version. Nintendo has the regular version on the Nintendo Switch Online service, so I don't think that we'll see a significant jump in value like the other Zelda games on previous platforms that aren't already on the Switch. Fire Emblem Fate's Conquest is creeping up a bit, but not by much. I think you should keep an eye on it if you were on the fence about adding it to your collection. I don't think that it'll spike too high in the immediate future, but it's not going to go down in value. Kid Icarus Uprising is a game that I thought would raise in value over time, and hey, how about that? It's doubled in value since my last video. This is one of those games that will probably never get a conversion port, and the other goodies that initially came with the game will continue to go missing, driving up the price of a fully complete copy. So I suggest keeping an eye out for a price that you're comfortable with and snagging it. Yokai Watch 3 will remain over $100 for the foreseeable future. It's the last game in the series, and rumors are that it was pulled early, so if you weren't a Yokai Watch fan and pre-ordered it, then it was pretty hard to find. The previous 2 listings sold for well over what price charting had it listed for, and there are currently no listings available for the price charting price either. So maybe be patient, but I don't think that we'll see any ports of the series anytime soon. It is pretty steep to pay for this type of game, but I'm sure someone will tell me in the comments about how awesome this game is. Dragon Quest VIII spiked dramatically in price in May of 2021, just like other most popular titles. Sold listings on pricecharting.com would lead you to believe that the price is going down, but those cheaper ones were loose listings disguised as complete. RPGs in general tend to fetch high prices, and Dragon Quest is a beloved series, and having console quality ones on the go just adds more value to them. Keep an eye out for the price that you're comfortable with, because unless they all come to the Switch in the future, these will hold their value. Luckily, this is one that's available on the PlayStation 2 for significantly less if you really want to play the game. Guide Louvre is a guided tour to the Louvre Museum in France, and it was exclusively sold at the gift shop. I usually don't include games sold outside of North America, but this is an oddity that is in English and has been one of those weird titles for the Nintendo 3DS that almost every collector has been aware of. There is a debate that the game is being phased out, but the website states that they still offer the guide, but it could just be to rent and not buy. The answers about availability of this game are mixed. Some are saying that it's still available, and some are only saying that Spanish is in stock. So maybe keep an eye out for it, or if you're in France in the next week or so, let me know if you can still buy it for 20 bucks. Next up is Barbie, Groom, and Glam Pups, and I really thought that you guys were trolling me in the community post, but man, is this game expensive. This originally came out for the Wii and the DS, and then re-released for the Nintendo 3DS. It apparently sold so abysmally that it was removed from store shelves and the eShop. There are rumors that this was sold exclusively in Canada, but it's the Wild West when it comes to speculation on why a particular game is rare. Unless you're a completionist, there's really no reason to spend this much money on a game, but hey, it'll be cool to see how high it'll go. It did make headlines a couple of months ago that it went for $1,600, so we'll see if that sets a trend. Okay, after that, I think we need a cheaper one, and Real Fishing 3D is pretty inexpensive with no indication that it'll spike wildly in the next few months. Natsume makes some interesting games, and while I'm not a fishing game aficionado, it just seems to be a popular game, so reel it in now or wait for a better deal. Metal Gear Solid 3D has tripled in price since the beginning of the year. It's got a different reworked version for the Nintendo 3DS, and with Metal Gear rumors swirling, plus the eShop no longer being able to accept funds to buy new games, it means that certain titles for the platform are going to go up in value. This is a unique version of Metal Gear Solid 3, so expect the price to remain high, but I would keep an eye out because some sold listings are still pretty reasonable. Shovel Knight is leveling out after a spike in March, and now it's $15 more than what it was before the spike. And this is a really nice version of the game. It has a full color manual and it's a fantastic game. I would buy it now, and it doesn't look like it'll spike in the foreseeable future, but that could change next year or so. But it is available physically on other platforms with the same full color instruction booklet. Xenoblade Chronicles 3D is only for the new 3DS, so plan accordingly. But this is a direct port of the Wii title Xenoblade Chronicles. It bumped a bit in March and it was rising slightly and is now more expensive of the other versions available on the Switch and the Wii. Personally, I feel that this game should be played on the big screen, but this might be one to keep an eye out on in the future. Professor Layton vs. Pheonix Wright is a combination of two beloved series on the platform, and the price has almost doubled since the beginning of the year. This is one of the last games in the 3DS series, and while all three Pheonix Wright games are available on the Switch, Professor Layton's backlog seems to be absent. Maybe we'll see it ported to the Nintendo Switch, but I'm not so sure it'll come in 2022. Jeff Keighley's game show didn't mention it, and also the Capcom showcase focused really on Resident Evil, so if you like this series, keep an eye out for a price that you're comfortable with and pull the trigger. Mario & Luigi's Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minion is a re-release of the Game Boy Advance game with added features. It's a later title, but still fairly inexpensive and on its way down after a March bump. So hopefully we'll see some Switch ports of these games, as they do deserve a wider audience. The humor in this game is on par with Paper Mario, so if you like those games, I suggest picking this one up as well. Senran Kagura 2 is more than just a pretty face. These games play surprisingly well given the premise of the series. This is one of the more expensive titles in the series, but it doesn't seem to be fluctuating very much since its release. So I would recommend buying it now, since a lot of these style games seem to be falling out of fashion and we might not see too many more in the future. Rhythm Thief has been one of the more expensive games for a while, but in the past 2 months it's more than doubled in value and will likely remain high for the foreseeable future. It's considered rare since its initial release, so I don't expect it to come down in value anytime soon. I would suggest importing the game from a cheaper region, but the 3DS is region locked and 3DS consoles from any region are pretty pricey. So if you love rhythm games, then I would probably buy now sooner than later, because this game is going to be pretty pricey. The Shantae series has risen dramatically in value, and Shantae and the Pirate's Curse is no exception. This is one of the few Shantae releases that were available at retail, so it remained relatively inexpensive, but other limited Shantae releases have influenced the prices. I'm personally not into Shantae, but if you are, I would consider making an alert on eBay for a price that you're comfortable with. This is one game that I think will drop down in price enough in the next couple of months. A Link Between Worlds is one of the best-selling games on the platform, so it's pretty inexpensive. It's a game that builds off of the Link to the Past and adds some welcome gameplay mechanics. I wish we could get a sequel to this game, or at least another top-down Zelda that isn't a remake. If you haven't added this to your collection, buy it now and you won't regret it. Persona Q is a crossover between Persona 3 and 4, and while most Persona games are expensive, this one is affordable, so I would suggest picking it up now, as Atlas and Persona games tend to hold their value and are prone to swings in price in the future. If you're a Persona fan, this is one to pick up now rather than later. Tales of Abyss is a part of the Tales series, which has been picking up steam in recent months since the newest release was announced for the series. While the price of this game has risen since the beginning of the pandemic, it's not as dramatic as the other games on this list. So I don't think that it will drop off, but it won't skyrocket in the immediate future. So if you're a fan of these games, I would suggest snagging it now rather than later, then seeing if the price will plummet, because it probably won't. So there you go, 24 Nintendo 3DS titles forecasted. While a lot on this list have leveled out, there are some titles that have spiked seemingly out of nowhere. While the eShop won't close until next year, you can no longer make purchases with credit cards, and then in August you won't be able to redeem eShop cards. So perhaps we're seeing a final FOMO push to get in before the masses get wise, but in my experience, physical game prices have always been independent of digital accessibility, even if digital is substantially cheaper. I do think that it is a good sign that most of these games are settling down in price, because it is an indication that some of the bigger collectors have already picked up the majority of their wants, and these late spikes are them finally wrapping up their sets. But let me know what you think. Will the 3DS go the way of the PlayStation Vita, or will prices remain stable, save for a couple of rogue titles? Leave a comment down below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with those who might find it interesting. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at snicktendo. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Super Nicktendo, and I'll see you next time.